Right, so this review is well overdue. These things have been around for a long while now for a really good reason, because they catch a lot of fish. They're one of the top dogs in terms of chasing bass in the States, and I'd say the same for mangrove jack in Australia and barra. The design features on these are just exceptional. They're the Lucky Craft pointers. This is the 100 XD. There's also, they come in a whole range of sizes and diving depths as well. But if you have a look, so this is the 78. The bib shape on the 100 is the same, you can see there. So they've got a very slender and pointed bib, which just means that they're diving down quite deep, but they really have a tight action. You can see that here in the video. They've got a very repeatable action and really, really tight. The 100 down deep and the DD series of these things have a more rounded bib. That gives it a little bit more of a thump and a slightly wider action, which I've caught plenty of jacks on them as well, but these things have got to be one of my favourites, especially fishing in those bigger systems. These 100s are just awesome. So places where I'm fishing around Coomera and Nerang, these get a lot of water time. There's guys out here that just use things like this and catch plenty of mangrove jack. So let's take a closer look at it. Just have a look at that profile. It's very realistic, like a potty mullet. The scales on these are the first thing that you see when you pick them up, and they're just little stickers that they stick on, but they've got to be the best scale design on the market, I'd say. And it looks like it's injured and has been scaled or been bitten at already by a fish, because it's not a perfect scale system through there. The head on these things, you can see that raised gill plate with some definition through there, and then that dark eyes there, the really black shiny eyes that actually stick out off the bait really naturally. You can see that there. Just make for such a really true representation and visual appeal in the water. I like to use this gold one when the water's a little bit dirty, and then in the clear water I'll use something like this, or just downgrade and use the 78s, which just have such a real finish on them in clear water. They're great, and the colour of the bibs is super clear, so you don't get any of that silhouette loss or that unrealistic silhouette because bibs coloured. You can get the tainted white ones. The speed you can run these at, you can go super fast with these and they'll track really true. You can see that here in the video. I tend to get really twitchy with these, and the hooks just hold them in a really good position. These are suspending, so they just sit right down there and hold in the fish's face, and a lot of the time jacks and barra can't resist them. The componentry, these are like an Australian series, so you can see in the packets they come with these little stickers on the front. Lucky Craft have upgraded their stuff for Australian conditions, which is excellent. So you get these really heavy hooks here, and they are really heavy. If you have a closer look at them, you can see they turn right in on themselves, which is supposed to help with your just keeping the fish on. I don't know whether it drops your hookup rate, whether it has no impact. A lot of guys swear by these because once you've got them hooked, they say that you don't lose them. I don't have a problem with that, even with the straight ones. So if these ones tend to get rusted out or whatever, I've got no problem swapping out. They do settle really well. You can see that ridge there means with the balls at the front, they just sort of settle like that, nose down, especially these ones with the big bibs. The shallower ones will sit dead flat, which I love, but yeah, they tend to sit like that in the water, just a little bit more nose down. I use these, like I said, in bigger systems around rock bars and getting down deep, right down next to the base of pylons around bridges and things. So because they cost about $24 in the shops here, $24, $26, some of them I've paid for, you don't want to lose them, so you want to make sure you're using the right sort of gear, like 20 or even 30 pound stuff, fluorocarbon, really tough leader around those heavier structures. Castability, they're great with that transfer system. These are just the bomb. So if you haven't seen what Mick Horn's got on his Facebook page for big mangrove jack take on these things, do yourself a favour, go over and have a look at his page, and you'll be convinced you'll want to go and get a handful of these things, because he tends to use them a lot. And the shallow ones, last season he killed it with the shallow versions. I think it's got a lot to do with that finish and just that very repeatable tight action. That profile's so much like a potty. It's very convincing. So yeah, that's the Lucky Craft Pointer XDs. They've been around for a long time, catching a lot of fish. There's some of the depth information, so 3.5 to 4 metres. They get right down to the base of those rock bars and things. The Lucky Craft Pointer 100 XD.